When the disciples asked Jesus, "What is the sign of thy coming?" he gave a very simple answer that somehow we have missed. The Lord said, "Take heed that no one deceive you." And what's going on in the world right now, it's like it's beyond deception, but I don't even know what that word is. Of course, a lot of people don't know they're deceived because the definition of being deceived is that you believe a lie and you don't know it. You yourself don't know that you believe a lie. But I know that so many lies have been told. Our government has told us a year ago that, well, they need to do quick lockdowns so that we would not have long lockdowns. They told us that we would have to just flatten the curve, meaning just stabilize the COVID cases. And then they want a COVID zero policy. Zero tolerance for a virus that has animal reservoirs and can never, ever disappear. This is not something like smallpox that a vaccine will make disappear. In fact, the vaccines have already shown that people who are vaccinated can still get it. But now they've ignored that and they've just simply gone to, we're not going to let you have your freedom until 70% is vaccinated. And you know that's a lie because it's going to become 80%, 90%, probably 100%. And the lies are not only, disturbing enough, but it's the big tech and it's the billionaires and it's the conglomerate media that work together to cover up the truth. And all we want is that people have an opportunity to hear a conversation, to hear a dialogue about this. Why is it so difficult to get people to ask questions without getting a strike or getting censored? It's unbelievable to think this would happen under Trump, but one of the parents of the 13 Marines who were killed directly because of Biden's failed withdrawal out of Afghanistan, one of the mothers simply criticized Biden and Instagram deactivated her account. What are you afraid of? If you are not lying to the world, if you're not covering up for a politician, then you wouldn't be afraid of the truth. You would allow the truth to go forth. But we've seen this over and over in history, that tyrants and people who stand to profit from lies like to suppress the truth. And the Bible says that in the last days, people will knowingly suppress the truth because they've given themselves over to evil. So I just want to ask, and I want to show you a video of a compilation made by Liberty Pen of the most outstanding historic lies that have been told by our leaders. So the idea that we cannot question our leaders, especially when they're political, they're amoral, they're not following after God. It is the job of the Christian preacher to question such amoral or immoral people. It is our job. It is our duty. This is what we are called. This is what we're commissioned to do. They claim that we cannot question them, that we are to believe them. No, I say, believe the Bible. If you don't believe the Bible and God's wonderful commandments, which are made for our good, you're going to believe man's ridiculous rules. And they'll never end. They'll keep changing and changing and changing until they have totally deceived most people. So please have a look at this. And again, I want to give thanks to Liberty Pen, whose channel is also suppressed in views. But thank you for putting this together. Have a look.
What did you think when you first saw those pictures?
What I thought was we have to gain control of this. We have to move this more quickly. We have to move in a way in which we can take control of that airport. And we did.
But you don't think this could have been handled, this actually could have been handled better in any way? No mistakes?
No.
I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false.
It is my constitutional responsibility to defend the integrity of this great office against false charges. On May 22nd, I stated in very specific terms, and I state again to every one of you listening tonight, these facts. I had no prior knowledge of the Watergate break-in. I neither took part in nor knew about any of the subsequent cover-up activities. I neither authorized nor encouraged subordinates to engage in illegal or improper campaign tactics.
Your top military advisors warned against withdrawing on this timeline. They wanted you to keep about 2,500 troops.
No, they didn't. It was split. That wasn't true. That wasn't true.
They didn't tell you that they wanted troops to stay?
No, not in terms of whether we were going to get out in a time frame, all troops. They didn't argue against that.
So no one told, your military advisors did not tell you, no, we should just keep 2,500 troops. It's been a stable situation for the last several years. We can do that. We can continue to do that.
No, no one said that to me that I can recall.
The fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
Does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
It does not.
Not wittingly.
My opponent won't rule out raising taxes, but I will, and the Congress will push me to raise taxes, and I'll say no. And they'll push, and I'll say no. And they'll push again, and I'll say to them, read my lips. No new taxes.
If you have insurance that you like, then you will be able to keep that insurance.
Everybody has heard him give assurance after assurance for years that if you like your plan, you're going to get to keep it. We, of course, know that to be false.
I regret very much that what we intended to do, which is to make sure that everybody is moving into better plans because they want them as opposed to because they're forced into it, that we weren't as clear as we needed to be in terms of the changes that were taking place.
We are not about to send American boys 9,000 or 10,000 miles away from home to do what Asian boys ought to be doing for themselves.
This evening, I came here to speak to you about Vietnam. Into this mixture of subversion and war, of terror and hope, America has entered with its material power and with its moral commitment.
We've all seen the pictures. We've seen those hundreds of people packed into a C-17. We've seen Afghans falling.
That was 4 days ago, 5 days ago. But the idea that somehow there's a way to have gotten out without chaos ensuing, I don't know how that happens. I don't know how that happened.
So for you, that was always priced into the decision?
Yes.
If we are driven from the field in Vietnam, then no nation can ever again have the same confidence in American promise or in American protection.
But I just want to ask a few questions, and I wonder if this would get a strike or a censorship to even ask the question. We just want a dialogue. Why suppress the truth? I'd like to know, why are antiviral drugs like hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin considered unsafe, taboo? We can't even discuss the results that are statistically significant in countries like India, despite the fact that these drugs have been used collectively for over 90 years. Yet the quote-unquote vaccines have only been rolled out for less than a year, and that seems completely fine. Why can't we have a discussion about our body's autoimmune capabilities? Why do we need to only talk about synthetic artificial immunity developed by big pharma for profit, subsidized by the government money? Why do we only talk about that when in fact the very best thing for you to be healthy is a strong immune system? You need to go get exercise, get some sun, get social activity, be mentally healthy and strong, eat right. These are things that would keep you well. In fact, it's what's kept you alive all this time, because there are viruses and bacteria and parasites all over the world and all around us all the time. It's our immune system. that keeps us well? Why can't we talk about natural immune system and what are some of the nutrition that would support us, like vitamin D or zinc and such things? Why does it get suppressed? Why do politicians keep referring to experts and the science as if it's a monolithic agreement, when in fact there are conflicting opinions among experts and scientists? When did we allow personal health to become the responsibility of politicians? When did our personal health become the responsibility of politicians? Is that in the Constitution? And where do we draw the line? Do we say then the government has to force us to go and get daily exercise? The government will ban sugar and all sugary drinks? Is that what we're going to allow the government to tell us? Because somehow they've assumed that our health is anything to do with them. They're just elected officials. They're supposed to, maybe fill a few potholes and make sure that we're, safe from invaders. But they're not supposed to run our personal health and make decisions for us. This is not in the Constitution. Why do these politicians get away with making ridiculous and contradictory rules? Like, when are we supposed to sit down and have a drink? Are we allowed to, dance at a wedding? Are we allowed to see our own family? When did we allow them to get away with this contradictory set of rules? I'd like to know if lockdowns work, and Australia is like lockdown king in the whole world. If lockdowns work, why do we still have lockdowns? If vaccination works, then why do vaccinated people have to wear masks? If masks work in stopping the transmission of this virus, then why do we have to get vaccinated? I mean, these are just, they beg an answer. These questions beg an answer. But you know what? You're not going to get an answer, because Jesus says in the last day there will come some outstanding liars and deceivers in the world. And this would be a sign when the whole world, when masses and masses of people, nation after nation, can be deceived, can be censored for even grieving and criticizing the chosen, the anointed President of the United States, the chosen one of the media. They selected him. And to criticize him because her son is dead. Her son's name needs to be spoken. Her name needs to be spoken. Her voice needs to be heard. And yet they silenced him, or they silenced her. Her name is Shayna Chappelle, and her son was 20 years old. His name was Kareem Nikui. Along with 13 Marines, they died. Don't you think it's right for their voice and their perspective to be heard? And even if they don't like Biden, since when do we allow big tech to censor the opinions and the voices of good people? Thanks for watching another video. I don't often get to thank all of our donors and online church members, but from the depth of my heart, I want to say thank you for making Discover Ministries effective and making our reach global. And you may not realize it, but all of your giving actually affects not only Australia and the world through YouTube and online church and Rumble, but actually you are affecting missionaries and mission projects all around the world. These are projects that we know personally. We don't just send something abroad that we have not vetted. So I want to read you one of the things that you have helped accomplish. And it's all related to COVID, by the way. So we've gotten pictures from eastern India, a very remote part of India called Manipur, taken during the distribution of rice to the starving people free of cost. How did that happen? Because a few years ago, we made a strategic decision to fund an entire farm, an entire business for a Christian community. What the Americans had done for so many years was create a, you call it like church dependency, Christian dependency, where they come each year, they give some money, they take photos, they go back to America, show them the photos, and then raise more money, and then give, I don't know if they give all of it or a portion of it to the Indians, and then they become very dependent. They don't know what to do for themselves. We decided we were not going to do that. We were going to look for a project where Christians were looking for self-sustainability. And what happened was they created a fish farm, a fishery, and then they grew some other crops. And here's what happened. And I'm reading from, uncorrected, unedited Indian English. As you are much aware that rice being the stable, I think he means staple diet of Manipur, so we sold the fish and bought rice and distributed to the starving people in different villages. Due to the very strict lockdown, we could not get into some villages. Many people got food and we were able to rescue many hundreds of people from intense starvation. Due to the audacity that we undertook in free distribution of foods to the abject poverty peoples during this monster pandemic, which locked everyone under formidable condition and bleak. It also opened a gateway to preaching the gospel to the nation due to our emancipation services to the hungry people. Sometimes I like the strange, foreign English. That's pretty good. It's the freedom service. Out of their immense gratitude, many people shed tears of joy as they didn't expect what we did. Many thanks to Discover Church, who generously donated funds to our fishery project, and now we see the fruit of our labors as we started feeding hundreds of starving people. Again, these are projects led by the Holy Spirit. Don't just, be pulled by tear-jerking testimonies and pictures of children that never get the money themselves. I'm talking about a lot of the Nigerian scams. We know these people, we've been on the ground, and we invested in them, or we sowed a seed in them years ago, which is how many years it took for them to develop a stable model. So when the pandemic hit, they were ready. And we're doing it again in Thailand. We're sending out $40,000 at a time of lockdown, and you see the photos on your screen of people receiving not only food, but they're receiving Thai herbal medicine to help them. Right now, this is the craze in Thailand because they can't get Western medicine. And, a lot of times when you can't get Western medicine, the people actually improve in their health faster. So there are all these Thai herbs and medicines and nutrition, along with food, being distributed, and the gospel being preached to primarily Buddhists who are in need. And Christians are able to do that because you and I, have supported this mission project in Thailand, all throughout Thailand. So thank you for supporting India, supporting Thailand, and we're also supporting Israel. If you don't know, we've sent so far, I think, around $20,000 to Israel, to a ministry that is well trusted, been there since like 1967, and they are doing a great work. And they're helping us to bring the gospel into Israel among the Jews. If you don't realize, a lot of Jews are called Boo Jews. They're Buddhist Jews. They like to explore Eastern mysticism. And years ago, the Lord had me write a book, From Buddha to Jesus. Well, little did I know that this Israeli ministry would take this book, translate it into Hebrew, and it's going to be published and distributed all throughout the nation. So you're helping to support, again, natural needs and spiritual endeavors in many parts of the world. So thank you again for supporting Discover Church, Discover Ministries. Even if you didn't intend to support missions, we must give our tithe. We preach tithing because we believe in tithing, and we give always at least 10%, but we actually give more to worthy causes, worthy gospel-centered causes all around the world. We do that not because we have too much. We ourselves are building a self-sustainable community, a self-sustainable project here in Melbourne, Australia. You know the reputation of what's happening here, and God prepared us ahead of time. We've got good land. Now, when you get fresh land, new land that's undeveloped, what you need to do is first clear it. That cost us $30,000. So we needed the money, but we sowed it, and we will keep sowing it because we believe that God rewards the sowing, and we prepare a harvest of reaping. So if you'd like to help us to build a sustainable community here, just clearing the land was $30,000. We have asked a contractor for an off-grid system. And I think this is not expensive. It's only $100,000. So for $100,000, we can have a totally energy independent community, right? A ministry headquarter that will be a blessing to people, Christians locally, but also for those of you, once there's no lockdown, to come and just enjoy a time of refreshing and come and see. So it's a small community. That's why it's not going to cost a lot. And the project in total, we think, is around $2 million. So please prayerfully consider supporting us in our gospel work and in our project to build a self-sustained Christian headquarters. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You're very precious to me. God bless.